Welcome back to the channel, everyone. In this video I'm going to show you around my exotic garden in late winter, and I'll tell you my plans for this year. So let's get straight into it. Yeah, we're into mid-February now, and things are starting to look spring-like. Finally, there are signs of spring and signs of the end of winter. We've had a horrible winter, lows of -5 on a couple of nights, but the main thing is it's been very wet, very windy, lots of storms. So I'll show you how the garden's looking, and I'll tell you a few plans. We're going to start over in the sunny border that's probably looking, if I zoom out a little bit, you can kind of see it's the least full, that's empty I suppose, bed, which does fill out in summer, but you can see there are my Musabastu bananas wrapped up, still growing away in there, very nice and dry in there, so the tarp's definitely working. So I should keep that height on them. I've kind of raised the crown a little bit on my cordline there, and then you see some signs of life on this Euphorbia shillingi down here. It's kind of coming through, and that does that won't get frosted off. That even in frost it kind of stays, so that's the first bit of growth. Whereas the Persicaria red dragon here, this growth will be frosted off. Over the next 2 weeks we've got a couple of nights to 1 degree, so it could frost, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. This is my tallest Tetrapanax here. Let me get out hide the shadow there, but you can see the growth is sort of not looking great. I mean, it feels solid, which I think is best you can hope for, because it's kind of not woody. So I expected this to die down to the ground, but it's so far so good. Lupins are all coming through now, and giant scabious. My passion flowers sort of all lined up on the wire, ready to burst into life. So that's the sunny bed. Moving on to the arid bed now. Yeah, that's taken a bit of a battering from the storm. As you can see, it's ripped in a few places, but for all intents and purposes it's just doing its job very nicely. And I can show you inside. Let me just show you this down here. Oh, I forgot the name. Parviflora, Hesperella parviflora, very dry. Look, you can see down there, nice and dry in the substrate, so very happy with that. The only casualty you can see back there is a very sad looking Ionium, which is what I expected, but everything inside is looking fantastic. Didn't expect that Serencia formosa to survive. Looks okay so far. Echeveria, my 2 Agave Americanas, all the Opuntias doing fine. The Washingtonia robusta doing absolutely fine, and there's my Opuntia ficus indica, which is apparently hardy, only down to about +3, 2 or 3, but it survived -5 with a little bit of fleece on there, and it's solid, it's bulking up, so really pleased with the arid bed. And I can't wait to take the tarp off and enjoy the view, but it's wrapped up for now. Yeah, so one thing I would like to do with the arid bed is add a few different types of agaves. I am growing some agaves in the greenhouse, which will I think look better in the long run than the Americanas. The Americanas get too loose looking. I kind of like the tighter crowns of Montana Vatifolia, Parii, maybe a smaller Parii at the front possibly. Yeah, any other tips for plants I should grow in this bed? Do let me know. I have talked a lot in previous videos about these eucalyptus trees. I have topped one of them, and I will be taking the leading branches off these 2 just to encourage a little bit of horizontal growth. I think they give good structure and height to the garden, but I don't want them to overbear me or the neighbours, so that's one job coming in the next few weeks. And looking round, I've got a few little pockets of beds to fill, really. I've got a little bit on this bed to fill, but I'm not sure what to grow from seed this year, so any suggestions for interesting annuals, I'd like to hear them. But looking over here, you can see I've got my Paulownia. This is, hopefully, if I can keep this big Fargesia rougher at bay, this should put on a lot of growth this year. Here's my Trachycarpus gigantea, which was probably in the wrong place. I've still got a chance to dig it up before it gets too big, but I'm not sure where else I can put that apart from in the middle of the lawn. On the decking definitely needs staying in, and I would like to put some polycarbonate roof on there just to give it a bit more shelter. See, I've got a couple more Tetrapanax down here that seem solid, new growth coming through, so pretty optimistic with those. I've got, if you class those as 2, I've got 4 Tetrapanax in the garden, and I got about 6 or 7 pups off this one last year, so I think that's a little bit of a potential money-making scheme in the years ahead. There's a lot of plants I kind of feel like I could propagate, but these pups of the Tetrapanax pups make decent money, so I think maybe that's an easy win for me to plough the money back into the garden, buy more plants. Here's my Miscanthus giganteus, and I think there'll be a point this year where I have to, maybe this year, maybe next, split it. You can see in the middle, this is the thing with the grasses, that this is the original area where it grew, and it's expanded and died in the middle, and it's pushing outwards. So maybe I can split that and sell it. And then I've got my Arundo Donax just over there, which got taller than the Miscanthus last year, but not as widespread. Again, 2 plants I could propagate by division, by cutting, and make a little bit of money. I'm just thinking of ways I can justify spending less and increasing the amount of plants I've got, really. Looking at my 2 central Fatsia japonica, I think they'll look pretty good this time of year before the sun gets to them and they turn pale yellow. But I do want to raise the crowns of these as I do the other one over there, because they're in the 3rd year now, and I do want to kind of underplant them. And I'd like these to create sort of a canopy in line with the Trachy, I think, in the coming years. Speaking of the Trachy, you can see how much growth they put on, and read somewhere they can put on about 30 centimetres of trunk a year, and that there is a decent amount of trunk to put on last year. It's definitely bedded in there. It's been in there again 3 years, and it should do really well, I think, from now on. Bit of a mix, this bed. One thing I do want to do is remove these rocks. I'm not a big fan of the rocks because I don't like the ivy growing in it. I don't like it how messy it is. I kind of like the sharp lines of using the railway sleepers that I've put I put this in, and this was already here. So my aim is this year or next to replace these stones. I've got a plan for these stones, but I just like that sharp look, that bend, and just maybe keep the stones just in the middle, immediately either side of the waterfall and the stream. Let me know what you think. I know they are to some people's taste, but for me they're a little bit dated. You can see that the ivy's kind of going crazy. So I think I just like the sharp lines. A few more things in there, little baby Trachy and another little Tetrapanax down there, Formium. One thing that is looking good this year is at this time of year is the Euphorbia Wolfenii. There's my little camera ops. And then moving around to the shady bed. The barrel pond is, I don't want to do anything to the barrel pond anymore since I put it in. Newts live around here somewhere. I've got the Gunnera tinctoria in there. I'm kind of in two minds whether to keep that or sell it. It's a smaller tinctoria. I thought it might be a good idea to have it in a barrel, but it's harder to maintain the water in. This one is easier to water. You see the new growth already coming out there are this year's leaves, ready to push through. I just built a little support there to keep the leaves off the path. But this is the big Fatsia japonica. I can't believe how big it's got, because this was in a 2 litre pot when I bought it and planted it. But it's, you know, we're showing the trunk now, and I would like to get some ferns and things planted in the shady border. If anyone wants to give me any names of hardy evergreen ferns that I should plant in this west facing shady border under a Fatsia, do let me know, because the ferns that are in there now were just one of the few plants that I rescued from the garden when I first moved in. This Euphorbia mellifera is survived, looking good. I hope the mellifera can fill this gap here with, I've got the cardoons behind it, and I've got my double trunk trachy down there. So I'll come around this side, you can see this is last year's growth from the cardoon. Still a solid stem, that, and then it's pushing out there, so get a decent height on that. And then the Euphorbia mellifera behind that. But yeah, any ideas that I could underplant here? I've got, once I remove all this dead growth from last year, so I'm going to have definitely some nice space under there for some underplanting, and I'm kind of creating the what do you call it? You know, the higher story of the leaves of the Fatsia. Anyway, let's have a look in the greenhouse. Probably go a step up. This is 4x6, and I do think 8x6 and sort of moving it closer to the walls will be better, because it is, although it works, you know, I can fit everything in. I just feel like I'd like more room at some point. So let's take a look. I've got all my Copiapoa here, my Copiapoa cinerea, and my Copiapoa Hasseltoniana, my pride and joy. There's a Quimbana. I've got all the smaller ones down here. I've got a few agaves that are eventually going to be potted out. Vartifolia montana, gentrii, parii. Forget the name of that one, but it starts with a K. I've got the agave parii neomexicana there, the Victoria Regina, and the Funkiana. So these are all ones that I would like to get most of them out into the garden at some point. A couple of astrophytums, and then another one that I love. If I just move Homer and Carmax, this that you've probably seen from a previous video, Aztecium Hintoni. I would like to get some more of those if I can afford them in the next coming years. Little Trachycarpus Lloydii. Get the light on that. There's a little squidgy Lophophora. A few plants that are not my top tier plants, but they will be going. I mean, I'll probably sell some of them, but these two are puntier. I would like to go either side of my front door. I've got a couple of Dendroceras littoralis from last year that are looking okay, whereas the ones that are older, this stalk here and this stalk here, have just been decimated by slugs. A few Tetrapanax pups there. This is, I mean, this is, my plan is to sell these. I don't need more than the 3 or 4 plants I've got in the garden, but I do think it's a good way to raise funds. And then I've got my Sonchus in various states of disrepair. I've got a Sonchus at the back there that's been kept the driest of the lot, and that's looking the healthiest. And then these ones have unfortunately got a bit too wet in the corner of the greenhouse where it leaks from the guttering. They've gone a little bit rotten, but hopefully they'll survive. Yeah, so that's the greenhouse. I think everyone wants a bigger one, but my plan is at some point to maybe max out the space and grow more. Maybe I've just got to be more realistic with what I can grow and fit in here. And one job I did last year was to dig in the beds that have got this steel sort of here, this steel line that gives it a nice sharp edge, but I do need to finish this one. I need some more hardcore laid in there, and then I can top it with self-binding gravel like I have on this side. I think it's held its colour really nicely. It is looking a little bit needs a bit of a tidy up in places, but I think the sharp steel edges work really well with the black. Another job I've got to do is to paint a few more of these gravel boards and fence posts that, you know, the ones that are exposed are black. I need to get those ones while before the foliage kicks in and I can't get to them. So definitely a few jobs, and I mean, I'd like to. I'm always working on a budget, but this year in particular, with mortgage rates as they are, I do think it's time to start thinking about how I can make this garden self-financing. What can I grow and sell? I do raise a little bit of money now from YouTube Partner Program, but it's pence rather than pounds. So that's it from me in the middle of February. It's all looking up from here. Do let me know what your garden's looking like at the minute and what your plans are for the year ahead. Any gardens you're looking forward to visiting. I am considering opening this one for family and friends and followers on Instagram, if anyone's interested in coming and looking around it in summer. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.